Hi everyone, welcome to English with Sepid. I hope that you're doing well and everything is fine, everything is going swimmingly. Let's get started. Today we're gonna work on American English File 3, but what unit? So 2B. Before going to the American English File Unit 2B, take a look at the link above, okay? So check the previous sessions and learn lots of things. So let's get started. To be changing lives on page 18. So you see a photo here. Wow, what a beautiful photo. Actually, what a beautiful set of photos. Okay, you see some people, okay, who are helping some other people in Africa. This is great, okay? They are changing their lives. And this is really important to give back to your community, yeah? And the people here are doing such a thing. So here, listening part, there's a listening part. The listening is talking about a really beautiful story, okay? Just I recommend you to listen to it, okay? Listen to it, answer these questions, and notice how the people help and how others are assisted in other parts of the world. Okay, so that's it. And right now, there is a very important grammar part, okay? So let's turn to our grammar part, which is about present perfect for, since, and present perfect continuous. Let's go. Now, let's turn to our grammar part. So, our grammar part today is about present perfect. So, we are going to talk about present perfect. And we are going to analyze for and since in sentences. Okay, so let's get started. We are going to talk about for. What does for show in a present perfect sentence? If you remember, we've worked on present perfect, okay, in 2A, okay? Now on 2B part, we are going to talk about the usage of these words. So let's go. For is used in order to show the duration of the time. So what do I mean by duration? For instance, for a year, okay? It means during 1 year. So, or for 2 months. So, during 2 months. This shows the duration of the action. Now, according to this, we've set some examples here and we've used for in present perfect form. Before going to the example, notice that in present perfect tense, we don't have a determined time. We never use a determined time marker. For instance, if I say 2 years ago, you understand that it is in the past, okay? It took place in the past. But if I say for a year, there is a kind of question mark in your brain, okay, in your mind. And you would ask, okay, for a year, but when? So in present perfect, unspecified time is necessary. If we don't use unspecified time, it's going to turn out to be the past tense, okay? So we are not going to talk about the past tense. We want to talk about present perfect. What is present perfect? Present perfect is a tense which considers past tense and present tense as a single tense, okay? So, if we say past and present are together, it means present perfect, and we should use unspecified time, that we don't know exactly when the action happened, okay? So take a look at the examples here. They have known each other for 10 years. They've known each other for 10 years. We understand that there was 10 years that they know each other, but we don't know when it started, when it is gonna finish. So we should use present perfect. If we use past tense, it's gonna be totally wrong, okay? So they knew each other for 10 years. It means right now they don't have any relationship. And we don't mean this, okay? We mean if we want to talk about the past and present, we can use present perfect. It means we have known each other and already right now that person is my friend. That person is also my friend now. And he was or she was my friend in the past, okay? So in the past and now. But if we use past tense, we say only in the past tense we were friends. But right now, we are not friends anymore, okay? So that's it. Let's go. How long has your brother had his motorcycle? Okay. You see that my brother has a motorcycle, okay? And this is the question which pops into your mind. And you would ask, how long has your brother had his motorcycle? It means I know that in the past your brother had this motorcycle and right now again he has that. So we are considering these two tenses as a single tense, okay? So let's see. And my answer would be like this. He has had it for about a year. So he has had it for about a year. It means from the first part of last year until now, and we don't know when it is gonna finish. So we call that unspecified time. Okay? It means we don't know the end of that. But if it is past tense, we exactly know when it started and when it finished. So that's it. That was all about for and its usage in present perfect tense. If you want to talk about actions which continue, okay, and they consider the past tense and the present tense as a single tense, you can use for in order to talk about the time and its duration. Let's go to since. Okay, so if we want to use since, we are pointing out the starting point of the time, but we don't know when it is gonna end, okay? Again, it's like for, but with a difference. If you want to use since, you should use it differently. If you talk about the duration, you can use for. If you want to talk about the starting point, for instance, 2000, okay? Since 2000. Okay, we can replace it here. They have known each other since 2000 instead of for. Okay, since 2000. It means since 2000, they started their friendship in 2000 and they have known each other till now, and we don't know when it is gonna finish, okay? So, let's see. Year 2000, you can talk about the year if you want to use since. Since 2000, since 1955, since 2010, okay, whatever year you want to say as a starting point. Or we can use past tense sentence, okay? For instance, I got married. Since I got married. Since I moved here. Since I lived here, okay? Since I graduated. So since plus past tense sentence, okay? But here, it doesn't mean that we don't use it along with the present perfect, okay? This is only the time marker, okay? Not the full sentence. I'm not talking about full sentence. See, for instance, in my example, I have lived here since I was 3 years old. So the past tense sentence shows the starting point, okay? But the present perfect sentence shows that this action started and till now, this is true, okay? It's the kind of fact that continues till now. So let's see. Since can be used along with the starting point, okay? For instance, morning. Since morning, I've cleaned my room, okay? So that's it. Or since morning, I've studied. But this one is normally used with present perfect continuous. Next part, okay? On the next part, we are going to analyze it much more. But these two are common with the present perfect simple. Let's just analyze them within the sentences. So, since we've lived here, we have lived here since we were children. So, this shows the past tense sentence, but this shows the time, okay? Since they were children, they have lived here. We understand that it didn't stop, okay? It continued, and right now, again, it is correct. We are considering past and present as a single tense, okay? So, we say, we have lived here since we were children. And how long have you worked here? How long have you worked here? Okay, so it shows that we are asking about the duration. Okay, we are curious. We want to know that, okay, I know that you work here now and you worked here in the past as well. Okay, but right now the point is knowing how long you worked here, the duration of the time. But here, the person can answer using for, okay? If you don't want to use for, you can use since. For instance, I've worked here since 1996, okay? So, I've worked here since 1996. That's the starting point, okay? So, in present perfect tense, in order to show the unspecified time, you should use for and since, okay? Why? Because present perfect is a tense which considers the present and the past as a single tense, okay? They are not separate in present perfect. They are single tense. That's it. So let's go to the next point. Now, in this part, we are gonna talk about present perfect continuous, okay? So, present perfect simple was like that. Have or has plus past participle, okay? But in present perfect continuous, you should follow another formula. So, pay attention to the formula. Have or has plus been. Been is the fixed part, okay? So after have or has, you should put been, then your verb and ing form in the verb, okay? For instance, have been playing, has been doing, have been studying, like this. So this is the formula that you're going to follow if you want to talk about the present perfect continuous tense. So what is the difference if you want to use present perfect continuous? We have present perfect in order to be used for the actions, okay, that show the present as and the past as the single tense, okay? So it's a kind of strange tense, however, it's really easy to use. So we use for and since. We can use for and since in present perfect continuous too, but there's a difference. If we are talking about present perfect continuous and our sentence is written in this tense, okay, there's a point here. The point is that you should notice that if you're using present perfect continuous tense, you are talking about actions which continue without any pause, okay? With no stop, no pause, no interruption, okay? So let's see. For instance, take a look at the second example here. I've been learning English since April. So we are talking about the starting point. If you remember, I mentioned that since morning, since April, okay? Even you can put the year here, since 2000, okay, like this. But here, the point is that if you're talking about present perfect continuous, you're mentioning that without any pause, you've continued your studies, okay? It shows that even there wasn't a week pause, okay? You didn't take time off. That's it. So with no pause, we continue that. So that I can say, I've been living in this town since I was a child. That's correct, because I didn't interrupt that. I didn't move to another town, okay? I was living here and I am living here right now. So if you want to say I was living and I am living now as a single tense, I've been living here, okay? So I've been living here since I was a child. We are just getting these two entangled. I was living, I am living together. I've been living. So working, okay? So I want to say that I worked, okay? Or I was working in UIA and I am working in UIA. So right now, I've been working in UIA for about 2 years. That's it. So let's see. I've been learning English since April. And the question, pay attention to question form. The question form is the similar form as we followed in the present perfect tense. How long, okay? We're asking about the duration. How long have you been learning English? How long have you been learning English? I've been learning English since April. How long have you been working here? I've been working here for 2 years. How long have you been living in this town? I've been living in this town since I was a child, okay? So that's the point. We are emphasizing that we have done it continuously, constantly, with no pause, no interruption. So let's go to the next example. They've been going out together for about 3 years. Again, here we can use for as well. So for about 3 years, we're talking about the duration. As you can notice, we are considering the past tense and present tense as a single tense. So they've been going out together for about 3 years. So let's go to another point, okay? That was one point that we said that if we are talking about the actions which are non-stop, okay, which happened in the past and continue up to the present time, we can use present perfect continuous, but no interruption is really important, okay? So we can either use present perfect here or present perfect continuous, but if you want to emphasize present perfect continuous is much more useful. So let's go to the next part. Your eyes are red. Okay, so this is a sign. You notice a sign here. Wow, your eyes are red. What has happened? Okay, or we can say or ask this question. Have you been crying? Okay, so if there is a sign somewhere or on somebody's face or in a place, the question that pops into your mind must be in present perfect continuous tense. Okay, so have you been crying? Have you been crying? Okay, that person answers, no, I've been cutting onions. I've been cutting onions. Okay, so for instance, you see some sweat, okay, flowing down my face, and you say, what have you been doing? Okay, the question, what have you been doing? And I would say, I've been working out. It means I've been exercising. Because of that, you see these signs on my face, okay? You see the sweat. For instance, I am panting. Okay, so, and afterwards you ask, what have you been doing? And I would say, I've been running. Okay, so I've been running. Here, you are asking about the person's previous action based on the sign now you notice. Okay, so you notice a sign now, and you are curious about the action happening before that. So then you would say, for instance, your eyes are red. What have you been doing? Or have you been crying? And for instance, what else can we say? You see that there is a smell, okay? You notice that there is a smell in the house, okay? There is a pleasant smell. And you would ask, have you been cleaning the house? Have you been cleaning the house? And I would say, no, I've been spraying some perfume. I've been spraying some perfume. That's it. So based on a sign, and we are going to just tell about our action. So that's it. And if we want to talk about the result of an action, okay, I've been crying, okay, or I've been cutting onions. I've been cutting onions. And if I want to notice the result, I would say, I have cut the onions. So this is the result. Not the sign, nor the action, okay? I would just show the result of that. A result, if you want to talk about the result, simple present perfect. If you want to talk about the action, you would use present perfect continuous, okay, which is based on a sign. Let's go to the verbs that cannot be used normally in present perfect continuous or any continuous forms, okay? So these verbs are called state verbs. State verbs or non-action verbs. If you have non-action verbs, you can use these types of verbs in present perfect simple form, but not in present perfect continuous or any continuous forms, okay? For instance, you haven't heard somebody just saying, I am knowing you, okay? It's kind of rare. And or I have been liking. Again, it's rare. But in present perfect tense, you can use them. For instance, I've understood it. Okay, it's correct. I've understood it. I've thought about it. Or I haven't thought about it. Okay, again, this is correct. And normally, we don't use them in continuous forms or present perfect continuous form. So that was all about the grammar today. Try to practice it, do the exercises, and use them in your speaking. Right now, we are on page 19. Okay, on page 19, part 4, there is a speaking section. So, you've learned the grammar fully. Okay, right now, you're gonna go for the speaking part. In speaking part, you can use this grammar and make the most of the points that you've learned. It's better to have a partner, okay? If you have a partner, you can practice in pairs, okay? For instance, you and your sister or brother, okay, like this. Let's just see what these topics are about. The first circle is talking about the social networking sites you use regularly. So, for instance, I can say, I've been using Instagram for over 4 years, and I can discuss, okay? So, Instagram is a really beautiful and attractive social medium. I can share my photos with my friends. Actually, if I have a party or if I throw a party, I can just share or post the photos there. I can show my feelings and I can see my friends and follow their posts as well, okay? Like this, you can just make some simple sentences. Keep your sentences simple. However, it's important to use the grammatical point, okay? So I can say, I've been using Instagram, okay, for over 4 years, or I have used Instagram for over 4 years. That's it. So next part is a friend you know well. I have known Jane since I was a child, okay? Like this. You start that and continue. So the next is a sport you play regularly or a kind of exercise you do regularly. Again, we can notice that. Let me see, let me think about that. Do I do sports? Actually, I don't do sports, but I can just set an example. I've been playing basketball, okay, since I graduated from college, like this. So, the car or motorcycle or bike you have. So again, you can say, I've been driving my car for over 6 years, or I've had my car, okay, or motorcycle or whatever. Now, the place where you live. I've been living here in this town for over 16 years, for instance. So, a cafe or restaurant you often go to. So, I've hung out, okay? I can use another word. I've hung out at Seoul Cafe, for instance, since I was in college, like this. And next is a gadget you have that is very important to you. For instance, I've had my cell phone, okay, since 2000, okay? It's a very old phone. Now, next is an organization, club, gym, or etc. you are member of, okay? So, for instance, I've been a member of UIA for 2 years. And next, something you're learning. What am I learning? Now, I've been learning French, okay? Or I have learned French. If it is a kind of action that is finished, but you remember that is a kind of experience, okay? But if you want to talk about the continuous form of that, I've been learning French or whatever. Here it is showing an instrument, actually. Okay, try to ask and answer. And this is a kind of good practice to be done with your partners. So let's turn to the next part. Right now, we are on page 20. So on page 20, you will see a text. Okay, this text is about Amazon challenge is very interesting. Here, again, there are some phone calls in the text. We are going to complete them based on part D, okay, that you see here. We're going to just choose the choice here. There are some multiple choice questions, and we are going to just fill in the blanks according to A, B, C. But there are two other phone calls that you're going to listen and understand them, phone call 4 and 5. There are some questions here. You're going to answer the questions based on the listening on part F, okay? But let's go to text. I will just read the text and we are going to analyze the text and fill in the blanks. So, TV hosts Amazon challenge. Helen Skelton hopes to become the first woman to kayak down the Amazon River. Helen Skelton is a 26-year-old TV host of Blue Peter, a show for young people. She has never been afraid of a challenge. Last year, she became the second woman to complete the 78-mile ultra marathon in Namibia, running the 3 consecutive marathons. Consecutive. It means continuous, one after the other, okay? In a row. These are the synonymous vocabulary and phrases. So, consecutive marathons. It means repeated one after the other. In 23 hours and 50 minutes. But when Blue Peter decided to do something to raise money for the charity Sports Relief, which sponsors projects around the world, sponsor, it means to give money in order to handle a project, okay? In order to move it forward. So, Skelton said that she wanted an even bigger challenge, so they suggested that she kayak 1,998 miles down the Amazon from Nota in Peru to Almerium in Brazil. This is a very risky trip. There are no roads and no towns. Only rainforest and a river, which is sometimes more than 24 miles wide and infested with crocodiles. Infested, it means full of crocodiles. There are a lot of crocodiles there, okay? So, if she gets sick, it will take around 11 hours to fly her to a hospital. Wow, okay. It's a kinda cool adventure. Let's turn to vocabulary section. You're gonna get to know strong adjectives. Okay, strong adjectives are non-gradable adjectives. So, what's the meaning of them? Strong adjective or non-gradable adjectives are the adjectives which hold the word very inside them, okay? They already have very in their meaning. For instance, exhausted. Exhausted means very tired. So, if I say very exhausted, it is wrong, okay? So, I cannot say because exhausted means very tired. I don't need to say or utter the word very, okay? So, it is redundant, remember. Here, let's go to the box. Some adjectives have a strong meaning. I had to paddle against the current. I was exhausted, very tired, okay? I've had a fantastic time. It means very good, fantastic. With strong adjectives, you can use absolutely or really, not very. Do not use very if you have a strong adjective. You can say absolutely exhausted, okay? Or really fantastic, but not very fantastic or very exhausted. It's wrong. So let's go. I've been suffering from the heat. It's absolutely boiling. Okay, it means it was very hot, absolutely boiling. Now let's go to this exercise and complete this part. Here says that tell me the normal adjectives for these strong adjectives. Let's go to the first example. Was Lisa's father angry about the car? Yes, he was furious. Furious is the strong adjective. The normal adjective for it is angry. Furious means very angry. So here, is Oliver's apartment small? Small? Yes, it's really tiny. Just a bedroom and a living room. Tiny means very small. So the next part. Are you of flying? Guess that. Yes, I'm terrified. I never fly anywhere. Terrified. What is the normal adjective for terrified? Very scared. Okay, here you can say, are you scared of flying? Like this. So next is, was the food? Yes, it was delicious. So delicious is the strong adjective. What is the normal adjective? Was the food tasty? And next, are you weary? Are you weary? Okay. I'm starving. I haven't eaten all day. I'm starving. Hungry. Okay. Are you very hungry? I'm starving. I haven't eaten all day. Now next, is your parents' house? It's enormous. It has 7 bedrooms. Is your parents' house? Enormous means big, very big, okay? Is your parents' house big? Next is, was it in Moscow? It was freezing, minus 20 degrees. Freezing. Was it cold in Moscow? So 8, was Jack's kitchen? It was filthy. It took us 3 hours to clean it. Filthy. So the normal adjective for this is dirty. We can say, was Jack's kitchen dirty? Now next one. Are your parents about the wedding? Are your parents about the wedding? They're excited. In fact, they want to pay for everything. Are your parents happy about the wedding? Was the movie? It was hilarious. We laughed all the way through. Hilarious? Funny. Was the movie funny? Are you? You locked the door? I'm positive. I remember turning the key. Positive. What is the normal adjective? Are you? Sure. Are you sure you locked the door? Okay, next. Were you to hear that Ted is getting married? I was absolutely amazed. I never thought it would happen. Were you surprised? Okay, so the normal adjectives and the adjectives which are non-gradable. Remember, with non-gradable adjectives, you cannot use very. Only absolutely and really can be used as adverbs, okay, along with them. So that was all about this section. And there is a point here. Ask and answer with a partner. Go to part D, okay? Page 21, part D. Ask and answer with a partner. Ask for more information. That's it. So, in this part, again, you can use and make the most of the adjectives and grammar together. Okay, remember that. I will just read the questions for you and you can practice them on your own. Record your voice. Try to check the voice which is recorded, and if you have somebody who can check that, have it checked. It's going to be to your advantage to know your mistakes in your speaking. Let's see. Number 1, have you ever been swimming in a place where the water was absolutely freezing? So you can just answer this question. Is there anything that makes you furious about car drivers or bike riders in your country? Are there any animals or insects that you're terrified of? What's the most delicious meal you've had recently? And is there a comedian or a comedy series on TV in your country that you think is absolutely hilarious? So you can use, it's a kind of golden chance, okay? You can use these adjectives along with the grammatical points that you have learned. So that was the end of the unit, and see you next session.